That's your money saying it's time for a McDonald's run. Because with new McValue at McDonald's, you get more than you expect. Like buy a 6-piece McNuggets and add a McChicken for just $1. Your money says let's go. Get more than you expect with new McValue. Prices and participation may vary. Valid for item of equal or lesser value.
Uh-oh. The last cookie.
You can get a new box of cookies in as fast as an hour with Walmart Express Delivery.
Are you my guilty self-conscience?
No, I'm the voice offering you promo code EXPRESS for free delivery on your first order.
Hey, who ate my cookies?
You mean, these cookies?
Order now. Welcome to your Walmart. Promotion valid for first express delivery order. $50 minimum subject to availability. Restrictions apply.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited about today's sponsored guest episode and show, Sohail Sadeghi from California, and he is a seasoned financial expert and principal at Atlantis Tax Group and Financial Services. So today we're going to talk all about how he helps clients and businesses optimize their tax strategies, navigate financial planning, and insurance compliance with regulations. And it's some of the most engaging topics today, especially in today's world with tariffs and just all of the uncertainty. I'm really happy to have him on and add value to the audience. So, Sohail, welcome.
Thank you, Christopher. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on the show. I've listened to a few of your episodes in the past, and it's good to be on.
Yeah. Briefly introduce yourself and your experience, and I'm excited to dive into the content and questions.
Some I've worked both in public sector and the private sector in the accounting field for some of the biggest accounting, some of the big four. And then I've transitioned now into my own practice because I felt like there was a few things that were lacking from being in the big corporations. So I decided to go and create my own practice to give a better service to individuals out there that I feel like are asking for it. I can't hear you.
Sorry, I talked to a lot of financial advisors, CPAs, guests on the show. And what is the number one thing that people come to you for, clients, either pains, problems, frustrations, things that they're trying to achieve? What do they come to you for?
I think the biggest thing that I work with a lot of small businesses. And I think one of the biggest pain points that they have is, I don't want to pay all this money. I don't want to pay this money that I make to the government. Do I really have to pay this much in taxes to the government? And it's a yes and no answer for me, because it's okay. Have you ever sat down with your accountant, your current accountant, to tax plan, tax strategize to see what options are to reduce your tax liability? And most of them say no. What they tell me is very common. They only meet one time with their CPA or their accountant, and that's during the tax season, where they just ask for the documents and they fill out an accurate tax return, which is okay. But then they're left with the surprise tax bill that they owe so much to the IRS. But there's no tax strategy throughout the year from their accountant to show them, hey, if we take these strategies in place, you can reduce your tax liability next year so you don't have to pay such a big tax bill. So that's what I really offer. And that's what I think most businesses should go after, looking for those certain accountants and CPAs who are going to meet with them throughout the year and help them implement strategies to reduce their tax liability.
And I'm in full agreement. I think the return on investment from a tax bill is practically zero. All you get is wars and etc. But what are some of the biggest tax mistakes businesses make, and how can they avoid them?
A lot of business owners that I noticed that, especially the ones that buy a lot of equipment, software, they depreciate over the useful life. But there's certain tools that the IRS has allowed us and given us, thanks to the Congress, to take this depreciation in the same year. I'm talking about the Section 179 deduction. I'm talking about the bonus depreciation. A lot of business owners do not know anything about these. So they don't take those strategies into place to reduce their tax liability, especially if you're a business that buys a lot of equipment throughout the year, you buy a lot of tech stuff. You can take those the full depreciation in that same year you're buying, instead of depreciating it over the useful life, which could be 5-7 years. And that reduces your tax bill hugely, especially if the cost of the equipment is very high. I have clients who buy a bunch of vehicles for their business. And I spoke with someone a few months ago who was just depreciating it over the useful life. And I showed him, if we take the bonus depreciation here, you're reducing your tax liability down from 40,000 to the IRS down to 18,000. It's just something that I feel like business owners should be aware of and try to take advantage of.
Yeah. It's quite interesting because I implemented the same thing for business owners and entrepreneurs, meeting with your tax accountant regularly to see where you can optimize and strategize. The other question I have for you is, in this day and age, especially with right now, just the markets are on fire and there's riots in the street and tariffs. How do you view like changes in policy and changes in sentiment in terms of taxes? Obviously, he hates the IRS. How are people navigating and clients navigating this?
Yeah, I don't know if you've called the IRS at all in these past few days. I called them almost on a weekly basis. I haven't been able to get through with anyone. So that's a problem right there, right? If you're not able to get basic answers. Now, for me, I have the knowledge of understanding about tax law and tax information, but for the average person who needs to get information, that's a problem if they need to get answers from the IRS in order to. We have a lot of people who fill out their return themselves, and if they can't fill out an accurate return, they're going to get hit with penalties and interest because they can't get answers from the IRS. And also what we're seeing right now is with a lot of my international clients is that they are pausing, investing in America. They have businesses that are in Europe and in Asia that a lot of them ship products to in America. And a lot of them are afraid right now with the tariffs in place. They're just waiting to see what's going to happen. They haven't pulled the plug yet, but they want to see, okay, is this like a 1 week thing? Is this a 1 month thing? Or is this a permanent thing that's going to be in effect?
Yeah. Yeah, it's quite interesting. I think it's really an interesting time to be living in and through. For talking about just the international tax laws, how do you help clients navigate for especially international investors and wealthy clients? They have different jurisdictions and ensuring FBAR compliance.
Right. So a lot of my international clients, they come out to me because they want to pay basically $0 to the IRS if they can. And that's possible. It really is. And the way it's possible is that you have to live outside of America. You have to be a non-resident, which most of them are. And your service and your products have to be shipped from outside of America into America. So you can't, and you can still have an LLC in America. You can have a bank account. You can have a payment processor. You can have all of those, and you still pay $0 in taxes to the IRS. Why? Because you're living outside of America. You're doing business outside of America. You're just shipping your products in. So a lot of them come for that kind of strategy to me on how to implement that in order to have that successful business here in America, to bring their product and grow it here in one of the largest markets in the world. But again, right now, with the uncertainty of what's going on in the markets, I see a lot of people who are hesitant to continue to do that just because you're putting 34% tariffs on China, and most of the products that we see are made in China. It just, for them, the cost wise, it might not seem beneficial to them right now.
Yeah, you and me, we were talking we shipped all our manufacturing overseas because of NAFTA, and then basically we kicked the can down the road, and now it's time to pay up, and Trump is ripping off the Band-Aid and everybody's rioting and etc. But so the next question is, what's really interesting is, how are you using artificial intelligence and automation and in transforming tax and accounting services?
Yeah, so actually, a lot of the software I use right now, I use a lot of tax software like ProConnect. All of these softwares now have AI automatically built into it. I didn't even ask for it, but they're just offering it. And it's crazy for me to see that we've come to a point. I remember being like back when I first started where none of this was even possible. But now you're in a place where the AI is telling you, okay, this strategy right here that you're implementing will reduce the tax liability of this taxpayer $10,000-$15,000. And it just tells you the code of the IRS code that enforces this rule. And for me, is it actually accurate? That's what I'm questioning. Is it actually accurate? Because with AI, that's my biggest problem. Is the information that is being given out from these tools, is it accurate? Is it up to date with IRS tax code as of today? Or is this something that it's telling me from 5 years ago? Now, I use it, but I double check. So I need to verify to make sure that this information that our tax software already has built into it is accurate or not.
Yeah. Yeah, very interesting. Yeah. Again, I was reading this article. I believe the IRS is using technology used in the 60s, but they're trying to upgrade it now, bring it into the modern world. And so talk about the role of financial technology in small business success.
It's paramount. I feel like if you're a small business and you're not taking advantage of the tools that are in place today, whether it's AI or something else, then you're behind other companies, because everybody is kind of grabbing onto this train of tech. So it doesn't matter what industry you're in. And if you feel like if you feel like it's not for you or for your business, I feel like you're wrong, because I feel like there's a tool out there that you can use for your business, whether it's AI or something else, that can even enhance and grow your business. I see people, smaller companies, using marketing tools for their Instagram account, like growing their followers because they have viral reels going. And it's because they're using a new app with AI features that garners people's attention. So I think that there's a place for it in every industry.
Interesting. The next question I have for you is, you're talking about the future of accounting and financial services. And a lot of times people just prepare it and give it to their accountant, but some accountants, they just put in numbers. But it's important, like you mentioned, that you understand the tax laws and tax code. But why is financial literacy and the knowledge of the tax code for business owners and entrepreneurs essential? And how can they learn this very quickly, just like a general, so that they know what numbers to look for long-term business sustainability?
Yeah. And even before I get into that, this is something that I've talked about at different places. That we have a problem in this country where we don't teach financial literacy in high school or in college to anybody, right? So we don't teach people how to build up your credit, how to save up money, how to actually pay your taxes. Nothing like that is ever taught in our schools. And so a lot of these people will graduate, go into high paying jobs, and then they're left, okay, now I got to figure out, how do I do all this? How come I was never taught this before? And is the IRS supposed to take 30, 40% of my income every single year? Is there no way for me to reduce my tax liability? And the answer is yes. There's a bunch of ways for you to reduce your tax liability. There's, unfortunately, a lot of our youth and people growing up in this country never learned any of this stuff. So for me, I feel like my job is first to educate all my clients on what we can do for you, what strategies are in place to be implemented to reduce your tax liability. And also, it should be the norm for you to meet with your accountant and CPA 3 to 4 times a year without them charging you extra, right? Because you don't want it to be a transactional relationship. And that's one of the reasons why I differentiate myself from the public accounting firms, because everything is transactional. You want to ask a question, $150 an hour. Yeah, for their time. I used to be one of those people. I couldn't give out free answers to our clients. Any questions that they had, okay, yeah, we're happy to discuss all these questions with you, but our time is $150, $200 an hour. But for me right now, with my clientele that I have, I don't nickel and dime them for every question. I feel like it should be a relationship. It should be a relationship that we grow together and not a transactional relationship.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and then I've had financial planners on the podcast talk about like the inherent conflicts of interest. You're an entrepreneur, you've had financial success. So talk about just lessons learned from building your Atlantis Tax Group and financial services. And if people want to start up or be business owners, entrepreneurs, what is the number one key takeaway to give to the audience?
Yeah, so for anyone starting up a business, I think this is just good advice in general. Learn everything yourself. Like, I'm talking about from marketing, I'm talking about from obviously service you provide, but that should be number one. But like from marketing, from customer service, how the operations of your business is supposed to flow, you should learn everything about that yourself. For me, when I started off, I felt, okay, I need to have this person take care of this. I need this person to take care of this. But then I realized, okay, sometimes this person can't be here these days, or this person wants to go off and do bigger and better things. That's totally fine. No problem with that. I need to learn those things, right? I need to learn those things about every aspect of my business so I can grow it even better, because I'm the person with the vision of my business, right? And that's how it is for most business owners. So for me, is like, how does the marketing work? How do I put out more content, and what kind of content will be more attracting to my viewers? I learned that all by myself to implement. But I do have a good team in place that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. And a follow-up question I have for you is, we were talking about how in the past our hard work and sacrifice and how hard it is to make it. And then you talk about giving away your money to the government which is wasteful. Talk about some of the biggest learnings, like mistakes that you made when building Atlantis Tax Group, and what did you learn from them?
Yeah, the biggest mistakes, I would say, it's always a learning curve when you start your own business. It's always a learning curve on, okay, how do I do it successfully? I guess the biggest mistake I would say for me was garnering the right audience. A lot of the times when I first started off, I'm going after the big fish, which is no problem. But the big fish, you got to understand, they've been with big accounting firms for a very long time. And a lot of individuals in that, they're satisfied where they're at. And they're scared to leave, right? They like the status quo. Everyone is afraid of change. So what was a proven method for me is actually, okay, I got to take a step back and go after those people who are unhappy with their provider right now, with their accountant, with their tax firm they're with, and target those individuals. And that was what really drove my success. So I stopped wasting time. It took me a few months. Okay, I got to stop going after these people because the return on investment is very low. But once I changed my strategy, it started to grow.
Yeah. And the corollary is, you see all your clients like kind of financial numbers. It's basically, you have an inside look into business owners, entrepreneurs, W-2s. Is America still the best place to build a business, or is London, Dubai, Singapore, China better places to build and start a company and be financially successful?
That's a great question. That's something I get asked a lot. For me, my opinion, America is still the best place to grow your business because when you're in America, you have access to the entire world, right? I have international clients who want to come from China, from Dubai, from Europe to America. They want to bring their products into America because they know what of a big market it is. And that's what you're seeing right now on the world stage. Every country is freaking out because of all these tariffs, right? Or we can't get our products into America. They're going to tax us at a high rate. Like, their markets are crashing. So America is still the best place. And it's always going to be, in my opinion, the best place to grow your business.
Yeah. It's really interesting. It's talked to so many different, some people say, yeah, it's still the best. You got the best robust capital markets. But then other people are like, yeah, but London and these jurisdictions are trying to attract new investors and new money and new clients, and they're making it easier. So I think America still has the first mover advantage, and we'll see in the next 40, 50 years how everything plays out. But and how can people contact you and follow you and learn more from you? And if they wanted to work with you, how can they do that?
Yeah, I think the easiest way for them to contact me is through any of my social medias. Is just at Atlantis Tax Group. You can find me, or on my website, atlantistaxgroup.com. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I'm not really active on LinkedIn. And I know people say you should be active on LinkedIn, but I'm also on there as well.
Yeah, excellent. I really enjoyed this talk, and keep up the great work. And thanks so much for coming onto the podcast.
Thank you so much, Christopher. Thank you for having me.